Did Jenna Ortega just give a little bit too much information on her character Tara in the upcoming Scream film? Let's get into it.
Well, sometimes that is better.
Hey everybody, what's up? Killjoy Jake here, and instead of having friends, I have horror movies. Today we're going to be talking about our old pal Ghosty here in Scream 6. Obviously, we want to find out who that is, but first we got to talk a little bit about Tara Carpenter, played by the absolutely wonderful Jenna Ortega. In a brand new interview for her upcoming Wednesday show that comes out next week, highly anticipating that one by the way, she kind of spills the beans on something that happens to Tara in this new film. Now before we get into all of that, if you guys can like this video and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate that. November is the least spookiest month, so your support at this time is greatly appreciated. More than ever. Oh, also, did you know I'm working on a Scream fan film? The link for the trailer is in the description below. Okay, done with the shameless plugs. Let's get into the info here. So like I was just saying, Jenna Ortega was being interviewed for her new show Wednesday, which premieres on the 23rd, which is a Thursday. No, I'm totally kidding with you. Can you imagine how big of a missed opportunity that would be? During this Wednesday-centric interview, Jenna Ortega does give us a few little gold nuggets of Scream 6 information that is fantastic, but she does start the interview talking about a very underrated classic horror film, Deep Red. I want to take a minute to recommend Deep Red to you because it is such a good movie. Dario Argento is such a slept-on director, and it is so unfortunate. Take Jenna Ortega's advice and go watch some Deep Red. It is freaking awesome. But the interviewer specifically asks her about Scream 6 and the fate of her character in this new film, to which she had a pretty interesting answer.
What can you tell us about Tara Carpenter for Scream 6? I loved this character. I can't wait to see more of her.
It's so interesting because we kept talking on set. It was the first time I had been on the Scream set and I wasn't screaming and crying and on the floor. So we kept saying, oh, well, now she has a personality. Oh, now she's like an actual individual and not some crybaby.
So the first thing she says is that she actually has a personality now. She's not just screaming on the floor, getting stabbed or whatever. It's like, yeah, come on. It's just a few stabs through the hand. Jeez, Tara, you big crybaby. Come on, it's just your hand.
To be fair, she had been stabbed several times.
Many times.
Yeah.
This is something I'm really looking forward to in Scream 6, to see Jenna Ortega actually kind of flesh out her character a little more, opposed to just laying in a hospital bed for the majority of the runtime of the movie. I'm just excited to see more Jenna Ortega in this movie, you know, of her actually walking around, maybe fucking around in New York City. I don't know. I'm just excited to learn more about Tara. That's gonna be cool. She also promises here that she will have actual scenes with Chad and Mindy from the movie, played by Jasmine Savoy Brown and Mason Gooding, respectively.
I think that the second one was really interesting because, yeah, she was a bit more of a real person. She is interacting with the other characters more. Like, I never had scenes with Jasmine Savoy Brown or Mason Gooding in the last one, so it was nice to actually work with my castmates.
That's also going to be pretty cool because we didn't really get any scenes with them like actually talking and conversing, and they were actually introduced to us as Tara's friends, and we never really got to see the whole friend part of that happen in the last movie either. Now, the most interesting part of this interview is that when she specifically talks about Melissa Barrera's Sam Carpenter character, she kind of talks about how she wants to like do this reflection of her character but a little differently.
It was really wonderful just kind of furthering the relationship between Melissa Barrera's character, Sam Carpenter, and creating the distinction between them. It was nice because I kind of took her performance and pushed the other route in terms of, okay, Tara's gonna be super feminine and super sensitive, or a bit more dramatic, or a bit more, you know, embracing her teenage side, and that was really fun for me as well, especially with the ghost face that's more gruesome than ever. It was nice to kind of play sensitive feminine girl who's still strong. I only want to play strong people, and she's strong.
The way that Jenna Ortega explains it, it almost makes it seem like Melissa Barrera is now her guardian, opposed to her actual mother, who is still out there somewhere. Which is why I doubt we'll even see Christina Carpenter in Scream 6 for this exact reason. Goes to show how good of a mother she is. Ugh. This kind of fuels my theory that Melissa Barrera's Sam character is basically going to take charge of Tara's life, basically being this like super overprotective mom, making sure she like, hey, make sure to get home by 10 o'clock, not 1 minute later, missy. Like, I could totally see Sam taking that on now, like totally counteracting her past self, who basically left Tara in the dust. Now Sam is overdoing it, so much so to the point where she's like super overprotective, and that's where all of that teenage stuff comes in that Jenna Ortega was talking about. I don't know many things about this world, but there is one thing that is a solid fact that no one can argue with, and that is if you tell a teenager to do something, they will feel very compelled to do the opposite of that. I was a teenager myself once, so unfortunately I would know. And now my theory brain's starting to work a little little bit because I'm starting to think of maybe a crazy chase scene that could be spewed from this. Imagine the entire movie Sam is being very overprotective of Tara, so much so to the point where Tara is like, oh my god, Sam, fuck off, like let me do my own thing, jeez. And then eventually one night Tara, just, you know, still being a teenager, still wanting to revolt and do her own thing, maybe goes against Melissa Barrera's wishes to stay inside because there's a fucking Ghostface killer out there somewhere. Tara just goes off to some party or something, and while she's going there, she gets chased by a Ghostface killer. Going back to that interview for a second, Jenna Ortega also doubles down on the whole idea that this is going to be the most gruesome Ghostface yet.
Okay, Tara's gonna be super feminine and super sensitive, or a bit more dramatic, or a bit more, you know, embracing her teenage side, and that was really fun for me as well, especially with the Ghostface that's more gruesome than ever.
This has been something that like the entire cast and crew has been very vocal about. Like they're super proud of how messed up the Ghostface is in this movie. I can't wait for them to deliver that in March, let me tell you. I've always wanted to see a more brutal, sophisticated version of Ghostface because it's almost always been played by like a college kid or high school kids in the past. So what are Tara's odds after being chased by a more gruesome, more sophisticated kind of Ghostface? Could that result in her death? I've seen a few people online speculate that Tara may die in this new movie because Jenna Ortega is constantly referring to herself in the past tense in that interview we just watched.
I think that the second one was really interesting because, yeah, she was a bit more of a real person.
Now think about everything I just told you with that theory. Like, what if Sam is overprotective of Tara, and then Tara goes against her wishes after Melissa Barrera's Sam doing everything she could to keep Tara safe? Tara goes out against her wishes and then gets killed by a Ghostface killer. What does that do to Sam Carpenter? In my opinion, that could set up one of the coolest rivalries between a final girl and a killer. I think it would be really cool to tell this revenge story from Sam Carpenter's perspective throughout 3 movies like this. That could be a really cool setup if they do that. And although Scream 7 isn't confirmed, if they do end up doing it, they could make it all about Sam Carpenter trying to find out who the other Ghostface was. Maybe only one of them gets revealed at the end of Scream 6, and 7 ends up being a manhunt trying to find out who this other person was. My head would absolutely explode if they did something like that. To tell that big of a story across 3 movies in the Scream franchise would be awesome. Some of y'all would have to be mopping my brains off of the ceiling, I think. I would love for them to tell a crazier and bigger story like that fucks around with the Scream format, and also just doesn't feel like the same old of what we usually get from this franchise in the past. What do you guys think about that theory and also this Jenna Ortega interview? Leave me something about it in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching this brand new Scream 6 update. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more horror content in the future. Like I was talking about earlier, November is the least spookiest month. Unfortunately, Jake's channel doesn't do all that well, so your support is needed more than ever. I would greatly appreciate you guys supporting me on Patreon or becoming a channel member this month. It would just mean a lot to me. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.